tuck position. This is one of the big Australian hopes here. We're looking at Luke Durbridge.
Luke Durbridge here. He is in fact the 7th rider to start today. And pressure on his shoulders here. He was second in the Australian Championships in the under-23 competition, beaten by Rowan Dennis. Rowan Dennis will go later. And as you can hear, big cheer there from the crowd, which is getting bigger by the minute here in Geelong.
Well, he has got the advantage, Phil, of racing on home soil. It's a great honour for many of these international athletes to have the chance to race in their home country. It doesn't happen very often for people from Australia. First time it's ever been down here, and I think a lot of these riders will be extremely nervous. There's the Bailey Bridge that I was talking a little earlier. A bit tricky there.
Catching up with the first man off, and he's doing a good ride here, Freya Eder, but at the first check, it's Durbridge who's showing best time in this first wave of riders. He's gone through in 9 minutes and 33 seconds. Eder here is heading up towards the finish line first time. He's on the Esplanade with Karaya Bay on his left shoulder. He will turn right into the finishing straight, and then he will find exactly where he sits in the rankings.
Well, a man who's opening up the course is actually riding a fairly reasonable individual time trial here. Phil, we get a chance here just to have a look at Durbridge. He really is approaching the time in very fine form.
That's the hill, and then the long plunge down here, and he's going to confirm himself as the best time, I think. He's still a few more riders to go in this opening wave, but that's considerably better than Van Overberg, the Belgian rider, who #2 out of the house. So Luke Durbridge has got that lead, 9:33. Looking very, very strong here.
Well, he's got a great position. You look at the top half of his body there. He's got his arms right in the middle of the handlebars, and that's to make the front end of his body aerodynamic. There's hardly any movement at all in his shoulders. That's an indication that this man has got an awful lot of power. This is the descent down towards the Bailey Bridge. He's touching speed here of approaching 70 kilometres an hour.
Now, this descent will be used every day this week in the championships. It's for the road races as well as for these time trials. Tomorrow is the men's elite professional time trial. Then we start the road races. This will be tricky in a mass field, especially the under-23s on Friday. It's a long, fast descent, as Paul Sherman has said. He's heading down towards the Bailey Bridge. Now we move on here. This is Matteo Mamini of Italy. As he moves off, he's riding a couple of minutes behind Durbridge on the road.
Well, the weather conditions are really quite strange. On one part of the course it's dry, the other part of the course the rain is starting to come down, and that's going to make it a bit treacherous here. Just looking at Durbridge, he's going to have to negotiate this corner with rather slippery conditions, so he'll have to back off a fraction because he certainly doesn't want to drop that bike.
Well, we've had the rain scores. You see the road's beginning to dry out just a little bit here. We go back towards the finish where the rain is still coming down. Look, roads are really wet here as they approach the finish. As Eder is coming up towards the line here. This is his time, and he's just slipped behind the time of Van Overberg. Van Overberg best time at a 45 minutes and 3 second ride, and Van Eder in for the moment in second place. Not surprising because only 2 riders have finished.
Well, he's lost himself 3 minutes and 15 seconds, but he was shivering on the start line. I think he really was really subjected to one of the coldest starts for the World Championships. Looking down on Durbridge there, he still looks extremely strong. He's gone through that first time check with the fastest time. I have to say here, Phil, he still looks as if he's got plenty of power.
I'm riding for just on 7 minutes there racing at the moment, but Durbridge doing very, very well. He's spearheading this wave, and I think he'd be pretty pleased with that. He's a West Australian rider, Luke Durbridge. It's over Perth way as we catch up here with the Italian Mamini. Also looking very streamlined and full of fight down there just now. What, of course, the Northern European riders haven't realised is that spring is here in Australia, and so the air is still very chilly. And in Victoria, as any Victorian will tell you, at any time of the year you can get all 4 seasons in one day, and that's happening on the course. But look at this now. We're looking at Durbridge coming up to complete his ride here, and this is going to be the best time by quite a way, as he's just about to reach 43 minutes. Van Overberg still holds the lead at 45. This has been a sterling ride by Luke Durbridge, and he goes in the lead by a massive margin, over 2 minutes and 11 seconds over Van Overberg.
Well, you know, he set the best time, Phil, at every one of the intermediate time spots. 6.5 kilometres, 15 kilometres, 22 kilometres, and now he's recorded the fastest time at the finish. He's going to have to wait a long time to see whether or not it's going to stand up.
So that's a good marker now for the rest of the big names to follow. But in the first 11 riders off in the first wave, it is the Australian Durbridge who has got the lead. And he gets to sit in the hot seat right on the finishing line now till his time is beaten, if it will be beaten. Or will that be good enough to take the gold medal?